Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga, the Fire Red and Leaf Green story arc, which has taken us back to Kanto for the first time in quite a while. Once again, going back to Green and Silver's childhood or lack thereof because of their kidnapping by the Mask Vice and how their escape took place. Now Green is set to finally, after way too long, meet with her parent, who had been traveling the world in search of her. Meanwhile, Red and Blue, for first time in quite some time for them too, have returned to Pallet Town at the behest of Professor Oak, only to be attacked by an invisible Pokemon. But beforehand, they were told by a recording of Professor Oak to leave their Pokédex at his lab before they headed off for Vermilion City in search of this mysterious creature. Well, no, that was at the behest of Oak, right? But Green has her own run-in with this Pokemon, as just before she meets with them, she's attacked by the same mysterious invisible Pokemon that she uses her Silph Scope to see that is none other than the space Pokemon Deoxys. During the clash, her parents fall into this black hole of sorts, and while Deoxys is run off by the arrival of Red and Blue, Green falls unconscious. Bill is also at the scene, as they've all come to a ship with tickets from Professor Oak, where Bill hopes to make his way to the Sevi Island, where he's setting up something with the storage system. So Green is taken to a shelter on one island, where Red and Blue meet Ultima, fortuitous, as both Red and Blue and their run-in with Deoxys has informed them that they're not powerful enough to take this creature down. They need an edge. And Ultima has the answer, saying that she's a move tutor. Well, that's something that you know from her placement in terms of this series, and she will teach their Pokemon an ultimate move to take down Deoxys. It's some steep training, but the two are up to the challenge. But now that they've been forced to battle against each other, with Ultima revealing that only one of them can learn the move, who will it be? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, Adventure 274. Double dealing with Deoxys. See, that's the alliteration I've been missing. I guess they can't really do it because there's no new Pokemon that have been introduced aside from, well, Deoxys. That makes sense. I didn't think of that before. Oop. Oh, that's right. Scizor, which, gotta take the chance to give in one of my favorite Pokemon, who has flown up with Machamp, is now bearing them both down upon Snorlax and Gyarados. Scizor releases Machamp right down upon Snorlax. Machamp grabs Snorlax, who was too busy running, and Blue tells Machamp to use Seismic Toss. Machamp does just that, throwing the large Pokemon. Seeing this, Red is shocked, saying, "Those four arms got the better of me again." And the speed of Scizor diving down to add the floor, down to the floor added to the power of the toss. Blue then calls out, "Machamp, go for the finish." And I don't know if Machamp is using double team, but as Snorlax tries to go for Machamp, Machamp sweeps the legs. Oh, low kick, yeah. Causing Snorlax to hit the ground hard, passing out. Dang. Red calls out to Snorlax as he says low kick does more damage to heavier Pokemon. So it's the perfect move to attack Snore with. Ultima, still riding on her Dragonite outside, observes this and says, "Red managed to take Golduck out of the battle first, but Blue didn't let that stop him. He withdrew Porygon 2 from the battle and immediately struck back using two different Pokemon." Blue then calls out, "It's not over yet. Scizor, Steel Wing!" And Scizor dives in and uses Steel Wing on Gyarados. I'm not sure if it took out Gyarados, but Red recalls Gyarados anyway, going, Snore, Gyara, you both fought well." And so Red sends out his Aerodactyl and Pikachu. Aerodactyl faces off against Scizor, with Red saying, "It'll be an aerial battle, go!" Both Aerodactyl and Scizor butt heads, and as Red and Blue run along the conveyor belt, Red says Arrow's ability is Rockhead. It won't receive any recoil damage no matter how many times it uses takedown. It can just keep on attacking. Ultima says Blue has caught up with him. What now? Red then has Aerodactyl use Dragon Claw, which more specifically, Dragon Choke. Aerodactyl's just choking the crap out of Scizor, and that's a weird visual. Blue recalls Scizor, saying, "Come back, Scizor," and Red calls out, "This is our chance, Pika." Red has Pikachu send out a shock towards Machamp, but it bends, much to the shock of Pikachu and Red, and me as well. What? Oh! Red questions, why is the lightning doing that? But as Blue grins, Red realizes and sees Ridin is running alongside as well, with the electricity redirected to Ridin's horn, which, unlike in the anime, doesn't affect Ridin. I still remember that, being like, wait a minute, that doesn't work! I remember seeing it in the anime and then trying and finding out, no, it doesn't work on this Pokemon, you dum-dum. Red says, its ability is Lightning Rod. Blue tells him exactly. It attracts electric types attacks to it, making it impossible for Pika to attack my Machamp with lightning now. Red, you've given this battle everything we've got, and we have the same number of Pokemon left. But the number of Pokemon isn't important, it's who reaches the end of the corridor first. The goal is right in front of us, and I'm going to win it. Red shouts, no, it's not over yet. I'll fight till the bitter end. And he calls out for his Pikachu, who goes bounding off of the railing up towards the ceiling. Red says, if I can't attack with Pika's lightning, then I'll just have to attack you directly. And so Pikachu steals its tail, and Red calls out, Iron Tail! Oh man, yeah, we're getting into the Iron Tail. Man, I remember initially when Pikachu was mostly just for shocking and stuff like that. It's just like, I mean, Pikachu's cool, but it doesn't really have an attack that has a lot of physical power to it. Until Pikachu just started using Iron Tail, and then it's just like, yeah! Mostly in other media, Pikachu going in with an Iron Tail has just become one of those things like, oh, here comes the pain! Here goes Pikachu from the top rope, coming down on Machamp, and ooh, right on the head! Oh, but just as Pikachu hits the blow, Green gives it all he's got running, and they both reach the end at the same time, both Red and Blue, who are, of course, exhausted, sweating up a storm and out of breath. Blue says, which of us made it first? You or me? Red says, dunno. Looks like we both got here at the same time. Blue looks around saying, hey Grandma, which of us won? But they don't hear an answer. They exit the hall, Blue still calling out, Grandma! And then they see the shadow of what seems to be Deoxys strangling Ultima, which it is. When Blue and Red say that shadow, they turn to the roof seeing Ultima being strangled by Deoxys, which, Deoxys, but I don't feel good about him strangling grannies. And there's so much elder abuse in this series. Blue says it's the same as, but then Deoxys goes to attack them, just as they barely manage to get out Charizard and Venusaur respectively. But Deoxys manages to start strangling both Red and Blue too. Red says, why does it have to attack us when we're dead tired? Blue says, this is no time to complain. We have to do something or it'll get us too. But suddenly the bracelets Ultima slapped on their wrists start to shine. Oh, engraved with some kind of, I guess the Pokemon language? I don't know, it doesn't quite look like it. But it doesn't quite look like Japanese either. A little bit, but not quite. Blue says, the bracelets that old lady attached to our wrists are shining. Red says, there's some kind of engraving on mine. Ultima says, Frenzy Plant, Blast Burn. Blue says, what are you babbling about now, Grandma? Red says, Blue, look, Sara and Charizard are reacting to what she's saying. Maybe the special move she was talking about. Blue says, it can't be. Red tells him, there's no other choice. It's all or nothing. And so, Blue has his Charizard use Blast Burn, or Red has his Venusaur use Frenzy Plant. Oh, okay, already off. So Blue, 16 years old, of course. Prize 1, Gym Leader Trials, currently the Gym Leader of Viridian City. Oh, right, he's a gym leader. Yeah, that wasn't noted when we were going over his bio previously either. It's just all about him being Professor Oak's grandson. Like, not the second place winner of the, Pokemon League or a freaking gym leader. No, Chapter 275. A Vicious Cycle of Possibility. That's a little profound, honestly. Okay, narration. Meanwhile, as Red and Blue are training with Ultima, 3 Island, we see a biker gang. Man, I remember, what was that long stretch of road you went down where you encountered all the bikers? And it was Red and Blue, or what? I think it was Red and Blue, or was it Gold and Silver? Now, I just remember being a young kid and encountering all those bikers and being like, why are these freaking tough guys coming after me? I was actually legit intimidated for some reason. I don't know why. We see a group of bikers and their Pokemon. The leader seems to have a Marowak, and he says, so this is 3 Island. Looks like a great place to tear apart. It's also known as Kin Island. Kin Island? How come? Because this island looks like the parent and the small island connected by Bond Bridge looks like its child. There's a forest somewhere around here called Berry Forest. The biker gang takes off with the leader saying, sounds like the perfect place for us. Those berries are all ours, and after we eat them all up, we'll burn this island to the ground. Like, geez. His crew say, yeah. We then see a small child chasing a Dunsparce out into the road. Just as she catches it saying, gotcha, he then sees the biker gang bearing down on her, the leader just barely stopping inches away from her. The gang dismounts from their bikes and accosts the young girl saying, what the? Look where you're going, brat. She says, oh, I'm sorry. But the leader says, shut up, quit your crying. You're in our way. The leader grabs the young girl just as Deoxys appears out of nowhere. Wait, was this before it came after Ultima, or are there 2 of them? Regardless, Deoxys comes from behind at the biker gang, and just as the leader notices its presence, it starts tearing through all of them. Jeebus! All of them and their Pokemon just go flying, and their bikes are shredded to bits. Meanwhile, on one island, the Pokemon Network Center, we see Bill and his Farfetch with a bunch of parts. Bill says, phew, I sure hope Red and Blue are alright. They went off with that old lady, and I haven't the foggiest how they're holding up, but I don't have time to bother about them. I've got to take all this equipment down and fix the Pokemon transporter. Oh, he then looks over to where Green is resting, peeking in on her. He says, Green, she still hasn't come to. He then remembers as Red and Blue were leaving, Red tells him, we need to go. Take care of Green for us. Would you please, Bill? Bill says, of course. I'll keep an eye on her for sure. Red says, thank you. Bill then says, hey, hold on a sec, Red. There's something I've been meaning to ask you. On the Sea Gallop, you told me you came here because Professor Oak asked you to. Red says, that's right. We found a fame checker with this corresponding with a recording, I don't know where I got corresponding, of Professor Oak and on it, and an envelope with a tri-pass with a Sea Gallop inside. Bill says, there were 3 sets of them, right? For Red, Blue, and Green? Red nods. And Bill says, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Yeah, I wondered about that too. Bill says, Green had her tri-pass with her. Seems like she met up with Professor Oak before y'all. Right. She had already handed over her Pokedex, so why would there still be the message for her on the table? It was a setup. So they are okay. But how then did they know to go after Green on the Sea Gallop, though? Bill says, so what do you figure was inside the envelope addressed to Green? What kind of message was recorded on her fame checker? Red pauses and then says, to tell you the truth, I was wondering the same thing. Well, the answer is inside Green's envelope and fame checker. But it's addressed to her from Professor Oak. He should be the one to open it. Yeah, because, Red had his Venusaur grab it before they left. So they have the message. I mean, I guess it's fine that Red respects her privacy and all, but still. Yeah, and we see it next to her, unconscious on the table. Yeah, Red says, so I left it next to Green's bed. I wonder. Suddenly, Celio calls out for Bill and says, I'm ready. Come down to the network machine quick. Bill says, right? Sorry, gotta run. Celio says, the whole system seems to have been taken over by some sort of powerful external force. Bill says, you're right. What the heck is going on? I can't make any sense of it. Think. We see a trembling figure over the downed bikers now. Oh yeah, it's the leader of the bikers being strangled by Deoxys. It's a signature move. Choke. With the leader saying, stop, help me. The Deoxys then throws the leader to the ground. A figure then approaches the leader from behind, and the bike gang leader says, hey, you gotta help me. Oh, he grabs the guy by the collar. As the biker says, so mysterious force attacked us out of the blue, and it's beating up all my pals. He grabs the man by the shirt, but Giovanni slaps the biker away. The biker says, what'd you do that for? Whose side are you on anyway? And he brings out a Magmar. Oh, geez, that's overkill. Giovanni brings out Nidoking and Nidoqueen, and has Nidoking use Rock Tomb, blasting away the biker. As the little girl is still cowering off to the side, Giovanni says, pathetic. You claim to be evil, so why not go all the way with it? There's nothing so disgraceful as something so half-baked. Also, that force is no mystery. It's a Pokémon, one who has flown down from space to us, one with an invincible presence surpassing any Pokémon from our terrestrial world, and its name is Deoxys. We see the R prominently on Giovanni's shirt. One of the simplest designs of all time, but always the most effective. The big G is back in the picture. So is he commanding Deoxys? Because in the Ranger special, we saw a way of commanding a Pokemon without necessarily capturing it. But even still, I wonder. Alright, now chapter 276. My Mimic. Alright, we cut back to Red and Blue confronting Deoxys. Though they're both being strangled by Deoxys while Deoxys strangling Ultima. Red has Venusaur use Frenzy Plant, and Blue has Charizard used Blast Burn on Deoxys. Red says, we did it! Blue says, so this is the special move that old lady was talking about. But the force of the move sends Charizard and Venusaur flying back, and Deoxys manages to dodge out of the way of the attack, much to the shock of Red and Blue. Red turns to Blue saying, it could tell we were going to attack, so it dodged. Let's attack it again. But then they notice that Charizard and Venusaur, they're not in great shape. Red says they can't move because of the impact of the backlash of our attack. Does that mean we can't use that move twice in a row? Blue then says, Red, it didn't actually dodge our attack. We missed. We used our new move without any knowledge of its power, accuracy, or the impact it would have on our Pokemon. We didn't strategize well. Red is shocked as Deoxys steps towards them. He says, we don't know how to handle that move. The voice calls out, not exactly. Oh, what? Ultima says, that was pretty impressive for first-timers like yourself. Drawing out the move's power as far as you did. Well done. You just need more experience before you can actually strike your opponent with it. Most of all, I was impressed that you managed to use the move at all on your own. She grins. Good work. Blue is aghast and shocked, saying, what are you up to now, Grandma? Are you trying to trick and lie to us? Ultima says, trick you? Lie to you? How rude. I've told you no falsehood. Blue says, you expect us to believe that? Look, the enemy that attacked us is with you. Are you the mastermind behind this incident after all? Ultima says, you truly believe that? In that case, I shouldn't have wasted my breath commending your efforts. Take a good look. She motions towards the Deoxys, and its shapeshifts, revealing that it is Ditto. Is it her Ditto or is it Green's Ditto? Because it would have seen Deoxys. Yeah, Red says, are you Green's Ditto? Ultima says, it followed you from one island, Red, by clinging to the top of your backpack. We became friends while you were training. We were only playing together. You mistook our game for an attack on me. Both Red and Blue, well, Blue's pissed while Red's just aghast. Ultima says, and by the way, I wasn't lying when I said I would only teach my special move to one of you, but you two have exactly the same strength, and you were tied at the finish line, so I decided to teach the move to both of you after all. I was wondering how that would be settled. However, you succeeded in drawing out the special move sealed inside those bracelets all by yourselves. You figured out how to use the move before I taught it to you, so I suppose I can't complain about you using it on me. She jams her staff on the ground, which causes their bracelets to finally come unlatched. Ultima turns away, saying, it's up to you to practice until you can hit your target properly. Red then says, Ultima, we owe you Ultima then says, and one more thing, interrupting Red. I don't know what's going on, but that Ditto seemed pretty desperate. It used transformation to show me what happened on the sea gallop. This enemy of yours must be very powerful if you're going to face it with the special move I've been guarding all this time. Well, that would make me proud. He takes a moment and then turns to them with a very serious look, saying, "Good luck." Red says, "Oh." He bows and forces Blue to do the same, saying, "Thank you very much. We gratefully accept your special move." Blue's such a punk. Red says, "Phew." As they make their way down the mountain, those moves were extremely powerful. Like she said, they won't be any use in an actual battle until we improve our accuracy. We don't have our Pokédexes anymore to give us data about the move, so we'll just have to learn through practice. Or is that Blue saying it? Red says, "Yeah, we need to practice a lot." He then holds up Ditto, saying, "Ditto, you followed us all the way here? You must want to help Green too." Blue then pulls Ditto away, saying, "There's something I want to ask you that might help us help her. I want you to use transformation again, okay?" Red asks, "What are you up to, Blue?" Blue says, "Red, didn't it seem kind of weird to you?" Red goes, "What?" Blue says, "The enemy's shape," while he's holding Green's broken Silph Scope. Blue says, "Think about it. We learned that what the enemy looked like from the image recorded on the Green Silph Scope, but something doesn't make sense. The image we saw, and the shape Ditto transformed into, the forms. As Ditto transforms into Deoxys' normal form, in the Silph Scope we see its attack form." Blue says, "They're similar, but there are a bunch of differences." Red says, "Come to think of it, you're right." Blue says, "What does this mean? Is there more than one enemy, or did it evolve?" Red gulps as Blue continues on, saying, "Or maybe this Pokemon changes forms depending on the situation and battle style." Right there. As Ditto transforms back, Blue tells Red, "This information could mean the difference between victory and defeat. If we can't find the answer to this question, we'll probably lose." I love how Red's just silently taking all of this in. Again, making him more and more like the Red I'm more used to. Oh, suddenly there's a ringing at Red's Pokegear. He answers, "Hello?" Bill says, "Hello, it's me." Red says, "Bill." Bill asks, "How's your training going?" Red says, "Oh, we succeeded." Bill tells him, "That's great to hear. I've got something to tell y'all too. Come on by the Pokemon Center. I've sent 2 new passes for y'all. They should be there by now. Rainbow passes." Bill says, "I want you to use them to travel to 4 Island right away. It's urgent. Shake a leg." Red says, "Wait, what's so important that you have to talk to us about it right away?" Bill says, "What do you think? It's appeared here now. The enemy that attacked y'all, Blue and Green, it's come to 3 Island, the Oxus. You can't get to 4 Island and beyond with the tri-pass you've got. You need the Rainbow Pass for that. I'll send 2 of them to the Pokemon Center on 2 Island. Come down here as soon as you pick them up. I'll be waiting for you at Icefall Cave on 4 Island." Is that actually Bill? See, no, we see Bill. If it was just his voice, I'd be more skeptical. Maybe? At Icefall Cave, Red and Blue enter. We see Delibird and Swinub. Makes sense. And Red says, "Oh, it's cold here. This is the cave Bill was talking about, right?" Blue says, "The temperature doesn't fluctuate much underground, but still, it's much warmer outside on 1 Island and 2 Island." Red says, "You're right. The ice-type Pokemon who live down here must lower the temperature. They didn't spot something on a rock." You go, picking it up. "Looks like badges?" Red questions, "What's this?" "Yeah, they have 1 each." Suddenly, a light shines out of it towards an Executor. Red says, "Is that Executor attacking us?" Wait, what? Blue says, "Great." And he brings out his Charizard, saying, "This is the perfect opportunity for us to practice. Charizard, Blast Burn!" The Bill comes running out, saying, "Whoa, hold it. Blue stops Charizard as Red says, "Bill, what was that all about?" Bill comes running down, saying, Sorry, just want to test that gadget out. It's called a Versus Seeker. Basically, it's a machine that seeks out people willing to battle. It's pretty useful. It finds trainers ready to fight within a certain radius and shines a light in their direction. I got it for y'all, though thought it might come in handy." Red's questions, "It seeks people who are ready to fight, huh?" That means this device will tell us when the enemy is approaching to attack us, right? Bill says, "Nah, it only searches for trainers willing to challenge you to a battle fair and square. Ah, okay. Only useful in the games. Blue tosses it, saying, then it isn't any use to us. Now hurry up and tell us about the enemy. Bill then picks up his device, saying, I thought you would ask that, but you'll figure it out on your own right quick. I'll cut to the chase. Bill looks at them with a dead serious look in his eyes. Okay. And Red even gulps. Bill tells him, a little local girl named La Stella. Really? That's how you know there was a pun in Japanese that they wanted to make sure they translated. Called to tell me that she saw the enemy on 3 Island. La Stella was being picked on by a bunch of bikers who were tearing up the island. But something appeared out of the blue and beat them all up. And that something happened to be the enemy. Red shouts, what? And Blue questions, it helped the little girl? Bill tells them, well, I don't know if it was helping her or just wanted to pick a fight, but the point of this story comes after that. According to La Stella, the enemy took off and then a man showed up. And we see La Stella on the phone with her Dunsparce saying, he looked about the same age as my dad. I drew a picture of him. I'll fax it to you. And good on the little girl for knowing how to use a fax machine. Bill pulls up a few pieces of paper and shows a crude drawing of Giovanni, saying, here's the fax. Red immediately knows who this is. He says, mark on the chest and disclose it's Giovanni. Bill says, I couldn't believe my eyes either. I thought Team Rocket was disbanded. And to top it off, this is their boss. I don't know if your enemy is Giovanni's Pokemon or just a wild Pokemon he was going after to capture. The connection between them is still a downright mystery. But as long as Team Rocket's involved, Red says, right, we'll have to face him and fight him again. Giovanni. Oh, man. It's kind of wild. I mean, yeah. Yeah, Red would be immediately on edge, just like Giovanni. Because the bad guy team, because of the way that the player character is, you don't want to always get that vibe of animosity, like, gotta be on guard. Because just how the games work out. And sometimes the bad guy team reforms or they're just gone after the fact. But here it's just like, oh, no. Wild stuff. Bill tells them, I had you meet me at Icefall Cave because there's a rumor going around that some people who are the spinning image of Team Rocket have been going in and out of this cave. See, I like the way they present this in the manga. Because in the remakes, yeah, it's all well and good. But I like that they adapt the extra content in the remake games and basically just use it for more information. Because the only thing I know is that Team Rocket appears in the Sevi Islands. That's about it. Which I kind of clued into the moment I saw Giovanni. Like, the first thing I see when I look at the Sevi Islands is Team Rocket appears. I'm like, of course they do. Giovanni showed up at the end of the last story arc. That's not a spoiler. That's basic knowledge. Blue smiles, saying, perfect. We can find out more about the enemy by finding Team Rocket then. Bill smiles, saying, see? Now do you understand why you need this Versus Seeker? Oh, I didn't even connect that dot either. Dang. Oh, good on you, Bill. And we get to team up with Bill again. That's pretty cool. Man, I love how just involved Bill is in this series. I gotta admit, when he barely ever showed up in the anime, I don't even know if he appeared outside of the one episode he was in. I was always kind of annoyed because I'm just like, it feels like we should be in contact with Bill a lot more than we are. But it felt like the anime is just like, no, these are our series regulars, nothing else. But you think Bill would have appeared more later down the line. I'm actually curious now. Sorry, but now I'm curious, like, did Bill ever appear in more episodes in the anime? No, apparently he doesn't. That is so weird. Just the idea that Bill, because even in the games, Bill is featured at least a few times. I mean, it's even mentioned what he's done in other games I see, but now, oh man, the anime kind of does Bill a little dirty, all things considered. Even despite the fact that he had like one of the most memorable episodes of the original animation. Like, here it makes sense that Bill's a good buddy and appears whenever possible. Oh, man, dang. That's it's really dawning on me how not right that feels. Sorry. Bit of a tangent. Alright, Red snaps on the Versus tracker to his backpack. See, I kept wondering what that was in a lot of the art I see of Red. The little badge-like device that he has. That's kinda cool. I did not know that was some kind of tracker thingamajig. Did he have that? Yeah, okay, he does have that. In the Super Smash Brothers. I didn't realize that's what that was. Versus tracker. Okay. Again, I never would have known that that's what that was because I didn't play Fire Red and Leaf Green. Okay. But the Versus tracker, does that even play a big role later down the line? Or Versus Seeker? Oh yeah. Wait, it's been in games I've played. I don't remember this. I don't remember this. Why do I not know this? Huh. Man, did I ignore it that badly? Battle trainers that you battled previously. Yeah, I have no knowledge of this. Weird. Oh, okay. Huh. Sorry, I'm really having a moment with this thing. Red snaps on the Versus Seeker and says, up till now, all we could do was wait for something to happen. But now we have somebody to go after. Let's find people willing to fight us. And the Versus Seeker immediately shines a light off into the distance. Red says, that way. And they all go racing down into the cavern, encountering a Golbat, Sneasel. Oh, wait. Do I have Sneasel? Or is it Weavile? Nope, it's Sneasel. Evolves into Weavile in the generation after it premiered. Gotcha. Sneasel and a Kingler. Red says it doesn't want us to go any deeper into the cave. Shouldn't it be they? Red says they've clearly received orders from some trainer. Red tells them Team Rocket must be in here somewhere. Okay, Sor. But suddenly, something blasts past them and freezes the Pokemon dead in their track. Oh, that's right. I did remember hearing that because I was watching a video that said Agatha is the only character who doesn't appear outside of the Elite Four. Bruno appears in the Johto Elite Four, and I think he appears outside of the Indigo Plateau somewhere else. Lance obviously appears outside, and Lorelei appears because she's from the Sevi Island. Red shouts, Ice! And a voice calls out saying, hey boys, if you're going to fight Team Rocket, I want to be in on it too. I'm just as mad at them as you are for tearing up my hometown. Yep. And Lorelei appears with her Cloyster. And, its horn is repaired. I distinctly remember that horn being destroyed. Unless there was a way of getting that fixed. Maybe it's a prosthetic? Huh. What? Okay. Between the re-team up with Bruno and the team up with Lance that I don't think anybody else was really aware of, so I don't know how a reintroduction of Lance is all gonna shake out, but oh dang, everybody sacked Agatha. Alright, chapter or adventure 277. A beastly cold reception. Red shouts, and Blue finishes saying one of the Kanto Elite Four, Lorelei. I love that he has to define Kanto Elite Four because now that the Elite Four is a more widespread thing amongst the various regions, it's just like I have to kind of let the audience know what part of the Elite Four she is. And in her redesign too, I'm loving it. Lorelei walks past him as Red says he went missing after the final battle at Cersei Island. What are you doing here? Lorelei tells them, I told you. Four Island is my hometown. It's a beautiful island full of natural wonders, far from the urban, crowded mainland. She then flips open her compact and notices the Kingler defrosting quickly. She says, but there are those who are trying to tear apart my home. That's what I was told. And just before the Kingler can go in on her, not just the Kingler, the Golbat, and the Sneasel can go in on her, her Cloyster defends, and she snaps close her compact, telling them, so I'm back. I never expected to see you here, though. Cloyster, Spike Cannon. Cloyster unleashes on the three Pokemon, downing them all. Bill shouts, she's strong. And as she commands her Cloyster to go into the battle, she tells the others, it doesn't really matter who I'm fighting, but I am curious about one thing. Is Team Rocket really inside Icefall Cave? I overheard you talking about it. Are you certain? Red and Blue look at each other, not sure whether or not to, really talk to her, all things considered. But she says, I don't want to discuss this with... You don't want to discuss this with me, do you? That's understandable. I'll just check for myself if Team Rocket was behind this attack. I mean, considering that Lorelei kind of gave Red, permanent nerve damage for a while there, well, almost permanent, and that would be a hard thing to trust. But suddenly a voice calls out over some kind of intercom. No need. The kid's got it right. Red commands his Venusaur, saying, Where are you? But suddenly, the wall cracks and breaks open. Who the heck? A small guy in a machine that looks like something from the trio of Team Rocket, and several Fortress. Those are Fortress, right? Yep, Fortress, flanked by several Fortress, says, We're the ones who ordered those Pokemon to attack you. And we are Team Rocket. His device goes and clamps up Red, Blue, Lorelei, and their Pokemon. And as he leaps from his device, okay, who the heck? R? Is this a game character? Okay, this is a manga-only character. Okay. Okay, so they're still introducing manga-only characters. Interesting. I thought we would have seen the admins from in the remake games. I was kind of looking forward to that. Car leaps down from his machine and goes over and kicks the Kingler and walking past the Sneasel and Golbat that he had sent out. He says, these Pokemon were so weak I captured them easily. They're basically useless. This is what you get for wasting my time and energy. And has his robot bat them all away, much to Lorelei's shock. He then pets his Fortress, saying, Only use Pokemon who are useful. Ain't that right, Fortress? But things are going as planned. We've captured Red and Blue at Pallet Town. The two boys then call out each other's name and have their Pokemon attack. Red commands Venusaur to use Frenzy Plant, and Blue commands his Charizard to use Blast Burn. But Car uses his remote control in order to redirect their attack away. Car jumps up and down, saying, Amazing! Those are some powerful moves, but they're useless if you can't hit me with them. Third. Female character, okay. A voice calls out on Car's comm saying, That's enough playing around, Car. Hurry up and get the job done. Car gets angry, saying, All right, sir. Much to Red and Blue's shock, Blue questions, There are more here? The voice calls out over Car's comms. Oh, it's the male, he says. Orm. Big guy. Holy crap. Says, That's right, Car. You're going to lose your chance if you keep messing around. Car says, Don't you trust me, Orm? Surge says, It's not that, Car. I just want you to be cautious. Orm says, That's right. Eesh, freaky looking bunch. I guess the manga wanted more visually striking characters. They see Orm with several Shuckle and Surd with her Persian. And had to have a Persian in Team Rocket. It just too duplicitous looking not to have. Surd walks forward saying, Allow me to introduce myself and my companions. We are the three beasts, the special forces of Team Rocket, and our boss's most loyal soldiers. Surd, Car, oh, and I'm Orm. Red shouts, Boss, you're referring to, Surd says, Giovanni, of course. And Red gets pissed, saying, What are you planning to do? What nefarious scheme is Giovanni trying to accomplish now with that mystery Pokemon? And really losing his cool, he shouts, And why were we and Green and her parents attacked? Tell us! And Car just, sticks his tongue out saying, No way! Red, in a fit of anger, manages to slip through the bonds, as well as Venusaur hitting the ground. Red chases after them. But Lorelei calls out, Red, you can't just charge straight out of them like that. Oh, yep, and Fortress explodes right pretty much in Red's face. We see Lorelei bringing out her slow kick. And as the dust starts to settle, Orm says, It's over. It's a bit disappointing to see them go that quickly. But Surd holds out her hand for them to wait, saying, No, wait. As the dust settles, Surd says, Just before the explosion, that woman used Slowking's dig to disappear. What did I tell you, Car? Car gets angry again, saying, It's okay, Surd. We'll just have to force them out of their hiding place. Pick up at a house with several plushies around. I thought those were actually Pokemon. Is this Lorelai's house? With everyone being carried in from being injured, Blue looks around questioning, why is this room filled with Pokemon plush toys? And Lorelai gets visibly embarrassed, saying, it's my house. You got a problem with my interior decoration? I never dreamed the Team Rocket executives were so powerful. This place isn't that far from the cave. We'd better hide out here for a while. Don't go outside until I give the all clear. But suddenly, their TV just clicks on as the Beast Trio comes onto the monitor. Orm at the mic saying, you don't stand a chance. We are the 3 beasts of Team Rocket. This image is being broadcast all over the Sevi Islands. Team Rocket is about to launch an all-out attack on your land. Citizens of the Sevi Islands, if you wish us to halt our attack, hand over red, blue, and green of Palatown. Much to Lorelai, Blue, and Bill's shock. Okay, so it was a general setup from the very beginning. I guess it makes a certain degree of sense, but dang. I have to wonder, did they go after Green the way that they did because of the kind of duplicitous way that she managed to down them? I wouldn't be shocked. Get her at her most off guard? Yeah, dang. But to pick the moment she was reuniting with her parents, that's still, I get it. It's intense from a plot perspective, but man, I still feel that, ooh. Cause very rarely do the bad guys just directly target our hero's parent. Usually they don't have a reason to because it's their first time going up against the kids, but still. Adventure 278, put your beast foot forward. The broadcast continues, with Orm saying, let me say that again. We, the 3 beasts of Team Rocket, are going to attack the Sevi Islands right now. Suddenly, there's a rumbling. Blue questions, huh? The island is shaking. It feels like all of 4 Island is vibrating. What's going on? And he opens up the window, and much to his and Lorelai's shock, they see the cave outside shaking and falling to pieces. There's a massive explosion and crash. As Orm says, for starters, I'm going to attack 5 Island. Orm will attack 6 Island, and Third will visit 7 Island and demolish it. You have been warned. Whoever is protecting red, blue, and green of Palatown, if you wish us to cancel our attack, hand those kids over to us immediately. Orm rises out of the cave on top of his Steelix. Third is lifted into the air on top of her Starmie, yeah. While Orm is in a little basket being lifted up by his Hoppip. God, that's so weird. With Blue and Lorelai watching them all disperse, Lorelai questions, an all-out attack on the Sevi Islands? While Bill says, that's just the kind of rotten blackmail Team Rocket would engage in. But why in tarnation do they want to capture red, blue, and green? What's in it for them? Blue simply says, I haven't the foggiest. He then turns, walking towards the door, saying, but now that we know they're after us, we can't hole up here any longer. If they want me, I'll give them what they want. Red gets up from the bed, calling out, hold it, Blue. Still in pain, he tells him, I'm going too. As Bill calls out to Red, Blue says, you heard the announcement. How did you weather the explosion? Red says, I'm fine. They're going to 5 Island, 6 Island, and 7 Island, right? That means we'll need at least 3 to fight them. Lorelai says, right. Then, if Red is going to 5 Island and Blue is going to 6 Island, that means I should go to 7 Island. Is that okay with you guys? Red says, Lorelai? Yeah. Thanks. And it's her home. Of course, it makes sense. They know how much she cares about the environment and Pokemon. Even if they don't fully trust her, they know that she cares about hers, you know. That's something that's easier to believe. Oh, they're back aboard the Sea Gallop. You see Red, Lorelai, and Blue riding across the sea. The sailor mopping the deck saying, you think the Sea Gallop was some kind of taxi or something? I haven't had a moment's rest. Oh, Blue glares at him saying, did you say something? The sailor shudders, saying, all right, I'll take you. Lead the way, oh joy. Lorelai then sees the island in the distance, saying, there it is, Red, 5 Island. Red says, yeah. He brings out his Aerodactyl to take him along the way, saying, I'm going ahead of you guys. And he takes off. Over on 5 Island, Carr looms overhead on top of his Steelix with his fortress. He says, well then, time to launch our attack. His Steelix breathes in as Orm says, and my attacks are awesome. I'll probably blow the whole island out of the water. And he has Steelix use Dragon's Breath, and he starts destroying the town. Man, this town's getting destroyed all up in this series. Orm laughs with joy as people flee in terror. Orm atop his Steelix calls out, Resort Gorgeous and the Memorial Pillar 2. I'll destroy everything. As he lounges on his Steelix, he tells his fortress, I'm getting bored of battling from up here. You want to attack head-on, Fortress? Fortress nods and he says, okay then. Fly straight into the Pokemon Center and explosion! Kaboom! But Felix just seems to kind of fizzle out. Fortress just kind of fizzles out. Orm looks in saying, you didn't explode. You're just smoldering. What's up with you, Fortress? And Orm is shocked as he sees Red inside and his unconscious Fortress. Red saying, explosion again? I'm not falling for that anymore. Orm says, you have some nerve chasing after me. I don't know how you stopped my fortress from using explosion, but I do not appreciate your meddling. How dare you stand in my way? I'll destroy you. That'll stop you from trying your little tricks on me. His fortress goes in trying to chomp up Red, and he seemingly does so. Orm laughs, serves you right. But suddenly, Steelix starts to vibrate. Oh man, it's been a while since we've seen the big boy. Poliwrath pries open Steelix's jaws as Red says, my brave friend Polly prevented your fortress from using explosion. Polly's ability is damp, which prevents explosive moves. Nice. Plus, Polly is a reliable close combatant fighter. Now stop this. And he commands Poliwrath to use Focus Punch, and he decks Steelix in the jaw. Steelix is sent flying out of the Pokemon Center. As Orm is sent tumbling on his Steelix, he says, what the? This is unforgivable. Well, if I can't stop you, I'll just have to stab you with Iron Tail. And Steelix goes in with the tail. But Poliwrath sees it coming. Ooh, grabs the tail. Then Orm's shock, he says, stop the attack? And Poliwrath picks up Steelix and throws it like, dang! I forgot how much of a G Poliwrath is. Just, my goodness. Poliwrath MVP. As Orm is knocked for a loop, he brushes his aching head saying, ow, why? Only for, oh dang, Pikachu's tail to go to Orm's neck. Like, don't move. And Red, flanked by his Aerodactyl, says, you can't figure out why you lost? Polly used Mind Reader before you attacked me with Iron Tail. Mind Reader lets Polly read your moves before you use them, so I can pick the right attack to counter them. Orm questions, says, how could you... Oh no, it's Red saying, how could you do something so awful to this island and all those innocent people? They have nothing to do with this. He grabs Orm by the shirt saying, I won't let you damage these islands. Why are you after us anyway? Is it because we're getting in the way of your secret plan? Answer me. Orm says, no, it's the other way around. Much to Red's shock, Orm says, you're not in our way. As a matter of fact, we need you. Our orders from Giovanni are to use you to lure the DNA Pokemon Deoxys to us. We've been instructed to capture you at any cost. Use them to lure Deoxys. So it's going after them specifically? But why? Meanwhile, we cut to 6 Island with Orm above a group of people and their Pokemon, I guess trying to defend their island as he says, this is so boring. The people on 6 Island are so weak. Man, I would hate to be the dude who got defeated by a Shuckle. Or a couple of Shuckles. I'd hate to be in the crowd that got defeated by a couple of Shuckle. Orm looks around saying, well then, I'll pass by Pattern Bush and head for Altering Cave. Ruin Valley sounds fun too. But someone comes surfing in saying, "Hold it." Oh man, it's Blue back on his surfing gold duck. Yo, that's what's up. Orm says, "Ooh, you decided to come out. Impressive." Blue then brings out his Charizard and commands it to use Flamethrower as the Shuckle recede back into their shells. Yep, ain't gonna be a clam bake on this beach. As Blue lands on the beach, Orm says, don't expect to scorch everything that easily. Much to Blue and Gold Duck's shock, Shuckle retreated into their shells. As Orm says, your fire-type moves don't have any effect on my Shuckle when they hide in their shells. And suddenly, multiple holes appear around Blue and his Pokemon. And, oh, no, there's multiple Shuckle! Oh, God, it's a horde of Shuckle! God, no! Okay, yeah, that's kind of terrifying. Now, a horde of Shuckle, that's a different story. As they grab onto Blue and his Pokemon, he says, nuts! Toxic! Oh, God. All of them using it at the same time? That could be pretty much deadly. Orm says, my, you don't seem too happy about this. These little Pokemon are cute once you get to know them. Our family includes all kind of Pokemon. We have to take care of our family, don't we? Oh, and another thing. Giovanni told me that there's someone who's an important part of your family, too. They captured Oak. Suddenly, a massive device comes out holding a monitor. Orm says, take a look and see how he's doing. As we see Professor Oak chained to a wall. Meanwhile, back with Red, he questions, you're going to use us to lure Deoxys to you? Deoxys, as in that Pokemon? Orm says, that's right, the Pokemon who appeared on the Sea Gallop. Red then grabs Orm again by the collar saying, but why us? Orm says, don't know, but that's what Giovanni told us to do. Deoxys and the Pokedex holders of Pallet Town attract each other. Deoxys will appear wherever red, blue, and green are. Huh. Whoa, wait. Why am I not seeing Bill's age? Come on. I was actually curious what his age was. I wonder if the manga knows. I have to assume Bill stayed behind to... Okay, so he ends up in his late 20s in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I don't really know how long that takes place after the original story. Okay. Spoiler, Ruby is 15 in the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire arc. And so, in general, like 5 years altogether pass over the course of a lot of things. Or is it more? I'm not really sure. Dang. Okay, so 24, 25 in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. That's 3 years after Fire Red and Leaf Green. Gold and Silver was like a year or two. It was about a year. So he was, 19? 18 when we originally met him? That sounds about right. Right? Oh, he was 15 during Red Blue. Oh, okay. Okay, I found the information. There it is. And 17 in the Yellow arc. Okay. Hey, this series spans 10 years? Weird. No, that's about right. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Huh. Weird. I hope that wasn't too big of a spoiler that I just read that. Alright, and the last chapter of this volume, Adventure 279. Don't Doubt Deoxys. Love that alliteration. Over at one island at the Pokemon Net Center, Thelio is looking at his monitors. And here's the message. Citizens of the Sevi Islands, if you want us to stop this attack, hand over red, blue, and green of Pallet Town. Thelio says this image is being aired all over the Sevi Islands. They use a powerful electromagnetic wave to hack the Sevi Islands TV broadcast network. I've finally figured it out. The reason the Pokemon transporter isn't working is because those goons were interrupting the signal. And that's for usual Team Rocket. It was all Team Rocket's fault. I've got to call Bill and tell him right away. Someone comes in shouting, Cilia. He says, hey, I figured it out. The reason the Pokemon transporter was, they say, not now. Now's not the time. Those Pokemon trainers, red, blue, and green, that they're talking about on the TV, those are the kids you helped out the other day, aren't they? Cilia says, yeah. The people tell him, everyone who saw that announcement has come to the network center. They want us to hand those kids over to those terrorists. And you see a crowd of people outside the network center. Guards trying their best to keep the gate up. The people yell out, look, 5 Island, 6 Island, and 7 Island. They're all in trouble, in a terrible state due to the attacks. Sevi Island was a peaceful place up till now. We know those 3 kids came to the Pokemon Network Center. They'll stop the attack if we hand the kids over. Bring them out. Cilio is aghast at what he's seeing. Meanwhile, Green finally stirs. She gets out of bed, grabs, I don't even know what she grabs, but she makes her way out of the bed, staggering to her feet, grabbing her pack and her hat, and says, I have to go. Meanwhile, at 5 Island, Red continues to restrain Car, saying that Pokemon is called Deoxys, and Deoxys and the Pokedex holders of Palatown attract each other somehow. So you're saying we're drawing that Pokemon here? Is that true? Meanwhile, we see a woman struggling to get out of the rubble, saying, "Oh, somebody help me," while another man is struggling to help someone out of the wreckage. Red sees this and says, I have to help the victims of the attack. Sir, don't let him go. So Venusaur restrains Car. As Red rushes over to the woman, he says, Are you okay? Capture the guy who was attacking this island. There's nothing to worry about. But the woman slaps away his hand, saying, "Let go of me." Nothing to worry about? Are you kidding me? I saw that announcement, you know. You're the reason the Sevi Islands are being attacked in the first place. So what if you stop the guy who's attacking this island now? His teammates will keep targeting us as long as you're here. Red is at a loss for words. As Bill arrives on the scene, Car smiles at Red's situation. Bill says, "Well done, Red. You've already captured Shorty here, huh?" Bill smacks Car on the head, but then Red doesn't respond. And Bill comes over saying, "What's wrong, Red?" Ooh, suddenly the woman throws a rock at Red. Then, "Get off our island." Several townspeople have showed up saying, "That's right, you brought this upon the Sevi Islands. Leave, outsiders." Bill says, "Hey, what kind of thanks is that? Red came to help y'all. He's used all his knowledge and the skills he's honed to fight the enemy. Plus, Red is a Pokedex holder. Professor Oak, the great Pokemon researcher, entrusted him with a Pokedex. He's a special trainer." The people say, "Oh yeah? Let's see that Pokedex then. Prove you're a special trainer." But as Red reaches for it, he says, I don't have it with me right now, actually." The people say, "See? He brought all this down on us, and he's a liar to boot." Bill gets ready to fight them, say, "What'd you say?" But Red stops and say, "Bill," with a melancholic smile, he says, "It's okay. Don't." Red walks away while Bill calls out to him. But suddenly, there's a massive rumbling? Something. Like Red senses something, and a chill runs through the townspeople. Car continues to smile as Red says, "A Pokemon who's drawn to the Pokedex holders of Palatown, the Pokemon Deoxys. We draw that Pokemon to us." And Bill says, "What are you talking about, Red?" Red says, "Bill, I can't explain why, but there's one thing I know for sure. It's here. It's drawn to me. Now that Pokemon has appeared, and in front of him materializes Deoxys." Still restrained, Car says, "Yeehaw! It's here, it's here, it's here!" Red says, "Oh, and I guess Ditto was with him this entire time too." Oh no, he's thinking about Ditto. He says, "So this is Deoxys, the real one. I've never met this Pokemon before." Wait, no, dude, it attacked you previously, right? This translucent version. It's the one Ditto saw in the Sea Gallop. Wait, did 2 separate Deoxys attack them? So Deoxys has a translucent version. But Deoxys then changes into its attack form. Red says, "No, it's changed shape. It's taken the form of the Pokemon we saw in the recording on the Silphscope." Pikachu rushes into action, and Red says, "Okay, Thunderbolt." Pikachu does just that. But Deoxys shifts again into its defensive form, managing to block Pikachu's attack. Red and Pikachu are shocked as he says it changed again into a different form. Red gulps, but he and Pikachu rush in to face off with Deoxys. Oh, no, they don't rush in. They're just kind of standing there. That was a bit of a weird change in transition. Red seems to be shocked, saying, "It's just like Blue thought." He remembers Blue's words. Is there more than one enemy? Is this Pokemon evolving? Or maybe this enemy can change shape. Red says, "There's only one enemy, but it's a unique Pokemon who changes its form depending on the situation and battle style." Car calls out, clicking his heels, "That's right, it's called form change." Red says, "Form change?" And Deoxys does just that, shifting into its normal, more translucent form. Red then brings out Aerodactyl, saying, "Let's go, Pika, Arrow." Pikachu jumps onto Aerodactyl's head, and they rush in. Deoxys goes in for the attack, using one arm in order to stop Red's charge, while transforming his other hand into a fist and just smacking away Aerodactyl, Red, and Pikachu. Jeez. Aerodactyl is sent into the air while Red and Pikachu hit the ground. Deoxys then shifts his other it changes form into a speed form and pierces through Aerodactyl's wings. Jeez. Red says its tentacles change shape. They're sharp now. As Aerodactyl plummets from the sky, Venusaur stops for saying car and catches Aerodactyl before it hits the ground. Red then sends out Snorlax, as Snorlax goes in swinging with a massive punch, but Deoxys shifts into its defensive form, blocking the blow. Red says it didn't even budge. Back away, Snore. The Snorlax does just that. As Red and Deoxys stand off, he says it keeps changing. How am I supposed to feed a Pokemon that can form change? If only I had my Pokédex with me. Well, since I don't, I guess I'll just have to discover its weakness on my own. I guess the Pokédex really did become a crutch for a lot of the Dex holders. Shoot, even in terms of the games, the Pokédex is like, okay, let me look up this thing with the Pokédex. Red then brings out his Gyarados, and he and Pikachu hop on Gyarados' head. Red says, Pika, what I've seen so far, the form with the sharp tentacles has a strong offense, and that robust-looking form has a strong defense. I'm not sure about the form it used to punch us. That one was translucent, so I couldn't see it clearly. Yeah, I think it could do that in the game, too. I mean, in the movie I saw, too. Now that I think about it, it's just a little bit harder to register that it's doing that in terms of the manga. I don't know. I feel like I remember it being able to cloak or something. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not sure about the form it used to punch us. That one was translucent, so I couldn't see it clearly. Carr says, ooh, you're quite the observant one. And you're right so far. Allow me to offer you some terms for your observation. The offensive shape is called the attack form. The defensive shape is called the defense form. And the data I gather from seeing it in action nearby is Deoxys. This Deoxys has transformed into its aggressive guise. It can fool enemies by altering its appearance. And then the defensive form says when it changes forms, an aurora appears. It absorbs attacks by altering its cellular structure. Wait, that's a Pokédex though. Oh, did they alter the original Pokédex? Card jumps up and down saying, this is wonderful. It's clear that it surpasses any ordinary Pokemon. But Bill notices the device he's using, say, that device. It's black, but it looks and functions just like a Pokédex. Hey, what that machine? Where'd you get that thing? Car twirls around saying, la la, la la la, I must study this Pokemon more. He then sneers at Bill saying, after all, that can't be the only secret of its form changes. And Bill tries to gab at Car, saying, why you? But Car runs towards the Pokemon Center saying, oopsie daisy. Bill calls out as he chases saying, Red and Blue said Professor Oak up and disappeared, leaving behind a message for them to give out their Pokédexes. That's when the whole shebang started. It was you, wasn't it? I reckon you're the ones who kidnapped Professor Oak. Meanwhile, with Blue and Orm, he says, that's right. We, the three beasts of Team Rocket, have kidnapped Professor Oak. Oh, thank you, Orm. Blue says, you kidnapped my grandfather? Orm says, yep. And you can't do a thing about it. Blue brings out his Machamp and Scissor to go in for the attack. Blue says, I don't care if you hit us too. Use everything you've got to tear the Shuckle off of us. He has Machamp use Hyper Beam and Scissor use Metal Claw, attacking at the friggin' horde of Shuckle. Meanwhile, Orm dodges out of their attack radius. Orm says, I'll admit, he's got guts. I guess the love of family is a powerful emotion, but bonds between Shuckle are strong too. He pets the Shuckle coming out of the ground saying, there, cute little Shuckle. Who's a cute Shuckle? We'll go for a stroll in a field of flowers after it's all over. But suddenly something pierces his hand. He shakes it saying, ow, what was that? A drill? As Ridin bursts out of the ground underneath Orm. Blue says it's impossible for you to give orders to every single one of these Pokemon, which means the Shuckle on your team must be in command of all those other wild Shuckle. All I have to do to defeat your Shuckle is to disrupt the unity of the others. And Ridin smashes the nearest Shuckle to Orm. Oh no, the Shuckle that falls off of Orm's head. And all the other Shuckle just fall off. Blue says Scissor and Machamp's attack was designed to lure you right above my Ridin, but you didn't notice. As we see Orm passed out on the ground underneath Ridin, Blue says, you can take that stroll later in your dreams. Blue then looks to the monitor with Oak restrained on it saying, Grandfather, where are you? Meanwhile, on the Sea Gallop, the sailor looks to the friggin' burning island saying, 6 Island and 7 Island are in chaos too now. I hope Red and Blue and that girl with the glasses are okay. Suddenly there's a ringing at his phone, and Ultima answers saying, it's me. The sailor says, Ultima? Is there something I can do for you? Ugh. Ultima says, yes, that's why I'm calling. Come and pick me up with the Sea Gallop right away. I'm going to 1 Island. The sailor says, what? Why? Ultima says, don't waste time jibber-jabbering. Hop to it, on the double. Sailor says, aye. Ultima hangs up the phone as she remembers Red's words as she said, Ultima, we're like beginners when it comes to wielding your special moves, but I got the grass-type move, Frenzy Plant, and Blue got the fire-type special move, Blast Burn. This is just a wild guess, but I'm thinking the remaining ring inside that bracelet is a water-type move. Am I right? Ultima questions, why do you want to know? Red says, Ditto showed you what happened on the Sea Gallop. It's simple. There's a girl named Reem who came with us to the Sevi Island. She's a skilled trainer who uses a Blastoise. Ultima says, you're suggesting that this girl is worthy of learning the water-type move. Red says, she's on 1 island at the moment. She got hurt in the attack earlier. Personally, I don't want to get her involved in this. I prefer to settle this myself with Blue. I'm sure he feels the same. But knowing her, she'll want to come with us. Ultima then says, the grass-type move Frenzy Plant, the fire-type move Blast Burn, and the water-type move Hydro Cannon. 3 trainers worthy of learning these moves appeared at the same time. I never thought I'd live to see the day. This must mean that the wheels of fate are beginning to turn, he says, standing outside of her house on the cliff overlooking the ocean. Meanwhile, as Red continues facing off with Deoxys, there's a rumbling in the clouds. Red says, look, Pika, cloud is covering the sky. Can you do it? Pikachu nods, and Red tells it, go. Thunder! And Pikachu launches a thunderbolt into the sky and brings it back down right on Deoxys, hitting it with the full force of nature itself. Red says, yeah, you did it, Pika. Seems like the crystal in its chest is the source of its power. It looks like it can't change forms again now. But Pikachu then notices something, pointing to the cloud created after Deoxys was hit, and we see that Deoxys is doing something again. As Car has continued to be chased by Bill throughout the building, Car calls out, ooh, recover. Red turns as Car explains, it's regenerating its power again. Red calls out, Pika, use thunder again, strike its crystal. But Pikachu tries to call down the thunder, but it seemingly can't. Car, with his black Pokédex, says, I see your Pikachu can't use thunder anymore, thanks to Deoxys' ability, Pressure. Oh geez, what the heck? Deoxys then begins to gather power, and Car calls, ooh, power of 140. This is it, Deoxys' greatest move, Psycho Boost. And Deoxys launches a powerful attack against Red, nailing him and sending him flying back as Car closes his Pokédex saying, study complete. Okay, yeah, how do you beat this thing? Like, no, seriously. How do you beat this thing? Cause man, it's really tough. Cause I've never battled a Deoxys before. Never. Not in any game I've played. And I don't know if there was anything. Yeah, the only way to get it in Sun and Moon was the Pokemon Bank, and that you couldn't get it in Sword and Shield. So I've never faced off with a Deoxys. So I don't really know how to deal with this thing, or how powerful it is. But seeing it here, between all the media I've seen a Deoxys in, these things are friggin' monsters. And I know they're not terrible. Usually they have to be controlled or persuaded, or something has to cause them to rampage out of control. But man, so I have to assume because Giovanni had lost to Pokédex holders, he decided to take away what seems to make them special and give it to his own trio of Pokédex holders. But Orm fell pretty easily, and so did Car. So, maybe there's more to it than this. And I do appreciate the fact that despite them hitting these ultimate moves, as it were, it didn't really make the difference in the end, because they weren't really able to go in the way they wanted to. It really will probably take all of them to take the Pokemon down. It sucks that the Islanders are so against red, blue, and green, but they care more about protecting their homeland. And it's like, oh, if we have to give out some outsiders, so be it. Kind of cold, but I get it. But man, it's a question of do we team up with Deoxys in the end? Or do we out and out have to defeat it? Because it doesn't seem like it's being controlled by Giovanni. It's honestly starting to seem more like Giovanni is tracking it. But how? Why is it drawn to the Pokedex holders of all things? Why is it attacking them? What is it after? That's the big mystery here. What's so special about the Pokedex that would draw Deoxys to it? I'm interested to find out why. But a lot of the confidence that Red has had in the past is really starting to be shaken by the fact that this is a situation that he's just not as on top of as he usually is. You know, he's been in desperate situations before, but now you have the people he's trying to help even turning on him. I guess that wouldn't make sense as the one bit of turmoil he would have. Blue's grandfather is captured, Green's parents are captured, and Red, it's just that pride of his, which he's managed to tamper with time, but you can see a lot of what he was confident in being kind of flipped on its head, and it's really starting to take a toll on him. And it makes sense for a young boy. You know, at his age, he would start feeling that he doesn't have that reckless overconfidence he had before, and you get enough of a losing streak and it's really going to start weighing on him. I can see where this is leading, and it's just I feel kind of bad. See, this is the stuff that kind of is making me go like, okay, I'm seeing the formation of the Red you could almost see in the games, that studious nature, that kind of withdrawn nature starting to form. But it makes more sense here, because it's not like that's his whole personality. It's like he's a little bit more, even when he was in the Gold and Silver arc, with his, I want to go and get myself checked out so I can be the best I could be. So he turned down the gym leader position and all that. It really is showing that more serious nature of him. He takes this Pokemon stuff deadly serious, almost a little too seriously, but he has a deep respect for everything that he experiences and he goes through. That Red, who was so cocky and a little bit brash and very naive, is kind of gone because of everything he's gone through. He's learned the proper respect over time, and that's also started to kind of become his downfall. He could be great in so many other ways, but it's almost like he's stuck in how he should go forward. So he just wants to keep training, he wants to keep learning, he wants to keep growing. But it's like, at some point, you're gonna probably hit a limit, dude. And that's why he's taking so much of this to heart, because it's shaking things that he thought he was certain about, things that he thought he could just take to the bank. He's like, no, I know this, I know that, I know this. This is the right thing to do. But you can see a version of Red who would be quiet now because he doesn't want to make the wrong move. Almost like how they describe Link in Breath of the Wild, is that he's silent because he takes the job so seriously and he just doesn't want to mess up. There's a nervousness in him to just do the right thing when push comes to shove. And I can see that now. And it's a fascinating comparison to make. Because again, he's not completely mute. And I think that's a good thing. Because even in the games, it was kind of expressed. He does. The protagonists do talk. It's just that you don't get to hear it yourself. So it's an interesting thing going on there. And it's growth because of the way that these characters start out, them developing into those characters you more see in like the games and stuff like that. Blue still has his cockiness, but he still has that edge we know from the manga. So that's interesting. That's fascinating to see. Green, unfortunately, is a little bit more of a blank slate because of the way that a lot of things go for her in terms of the series, but I'm interested to see what happens when she finally gets into the fight and where that goes. But the beasts are interesting enough. I just was really expecting the usual admins and stuff, because I know they're supposed to have redesigns, and some of those redesigns were for Carl and Sham, and I'm not sure how that all goes down. But it is interesting how the Pokédex are just such an important thing, and just how integral a part they play for these kids' development. And it really is expressed how the Pokédexes are kind of what gives these kids a little bit of their edge. I don't want to think that it's all that makes them special, but it does help them along to be just as good as some of the most professional of Pokédex holders. So that's an interesting way of looking at it. Well, I've blabbered on enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also remember to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.